All right, welcome back. It's still our Democracy Day special live telecast reaching you from Abuja. I've been joined now in the studio by another guest to continue the conversation on the progress made so far, the lessons learned, and the way forward for Nigeria. I've been joined by Chief Patrick Eholo. He's the Director, Contact and Mobilization, Diaspora Labour Party, and he's also a human rights activist and a philanthropist. Good afternoon and welcome to the program, sir.
Good afternoon, Amanda.
It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. All right, it's been about 2 decades since Nigeria began a journey into democracy, uninterrupted democracy with President Olusegun Obasanjo. I'd like to get your thoughts on how well do you think we've done in practicing democracy?
I think some few progress has been made. I think, we are still evolving. I think there's still more to learn. As a matter of fact, one would have expected that by now there would have been more progress towards the democracy. A lot of people would have been participating in it because, in order for us to achieve an aims, an objective with this democracy, there had to be more enlightenment, more education to the people, You are aware that in the past election, more youths were very eager, to be part of the process. More elderly, more women, they were very eager, But I also know that, it wasn't perfect. A lot of things went wrong. I only hope and, think it would have been more better that it was, But looking at everything holistically, you wouldn't say we have done so well. You could not even say we have done so poorly or so badly, because we have our own ways before the democracy, So I think it's a learning rope, and the people have been patient enough. I think a lot of things have happened, given the fact that when these recent Obidati movements have really changed a lot of things. And the NSAS too have also changed a lot of things. So I'm hopeful and optimistic that we are going to get better.
All right, that's fair enough. But let's speak now about, some issues that might hold back democracy. There's a belief that we've moved, or take for instance the guest before you, Dr. Law, and also the PDP presidential candidate for 2023, Atiku Abubakar. They've said that what Nigeria has is civil rule, not really democracy, so to speak. So the question now is, for the leaders that will emerge, how do you think they can begin to fight whatever cabals or powers that be that hold back democracy? Because when a few people get to dictate what happens in the country behind the scenes, it's not really democracy.
Yes, your questions are very interesting. You see, you cannot have democracy without patriotism. We are lack of patriotism. We have the willpower. But the issue that when things happen to us, I don't know if it has to do with ethnicity. I'm sure that it's supposed to unite us, but it's more like dividing us. You know what I mean? And if we come to terms with ourselves and we reassure ourselves that we have no other country that we call home other than Nigeria, I think a lot of people will be willing to contribute, even possible to sacrifice for Nigeria. But we've seen that in the recent time, the ethnicity, the religion has played a better divide instead of a better unity. We must get those things right. We must, encourage, our religious leader I'm talking about now. Because, religion is like an opium. A lot of people follow religion. So if we are able to talk to the pastors, the imam, the evangelists, when you are in your altar on Sunday, when you are preaching the gospel, preach unity, right? Preach salvation. Don't let it just all be prosperity, Let it be unity among men and women. you know, the democracy will be very beautiful. But we are so divided because in the past, you are not going to compare our past of yesterday to today. When I say past, in the time of Anthony Enaroro, Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Baralabe Musa, and you know, just to mention but a few, you can see the decency, you can see how it was involving them, right? It's supposed to be progression, not retrogression, you know. But like I said, we need a lot of orientation. The ministries are not doing enough. Some of us who are individuals or who belong to the CSO, we are doing far more than the Minister of Information or Commissioners of Information of various states. They need to put money in there. They need to do advertisement. They have to be women inclusive. We talk about 35%. They're not even up to 7 or 6%. You know, and you know, past president said, you know, women belongs to the other room. No, not in this present jet age. You know, are you with me? Yeah. So, and I also too, some of the professors that we you know, give power to monitor and observe elections, who now betray their conscience and betray the nation. I think they all have to have a rethink that we have no other country that we call Nigeria. The military, the armed forces, we all have a role to play. All right? Even those of us, or some of us, who knowingly sell our votes, I mean, how much are they going to pay you? That you have to be a slave for under 4 years. You know? Because we as people are supposed to police the police. We as people are supposed to police the judges. We as people are supposed to police the politicians. But they have their way. When you subject yourself so low and then there's a price for you, then it becomes the problem.
Right. Like I said, Nigeria's democracy is about 20-something years or so. Now, if you should take that as a normal life of a human being, that's about a young adult, just, you know, past teenage years and thereabouts. So I know you are a well-traveled person. So I'd like your thoughts. What do you think Nigeria can begin to borrow from our elders? You know, those who have had democracy for close to 100 years, going over and so on. What are those things that we can take from them instead of, you know, always trying to you know, come up with ideas that don't exist and looking for the best, you know, El Dorado there is? What about pre-existing systems? What do you think that we can begin to borrow and adapt that will work for us?
It's very easy, you know. I've said it oftentimes, but people like read minutes and, you know, like, we live on so much borrowed culture. So much borrowed culture, you know. For instance, when we go to our courts, we're Africans. You are given the opportunity to swear by oaths, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You're given a Bible and you're given a Quran. What happened to the Ogun or Shango? So I'm not saying this that those who believe in God or believe in Allah shouldn't continue. It's about faith. But our people also respect our deities. Let us introduce those things to the courtroom.
More homegrown solutions.
To the of that, I'm telling you, because in the past, when people are going to do things that is embarrassing or terrible or steal, and you say you are going to swear to the deity, they will bring what they stole out. All right? But these days, when the politicians steal, they'll take out of their stolen and take 10% and give pastor. And pastor will pray for them. That's a problem. That's one. And secondly, nepotism should be taken away. That's true. And then thirdly, favoritism. When you know clearly somebody can't get a job done because he's your in-law or because he delivered his word by threatening people, by shooting gun periodically, you reward him as a minister. That's backwardness. That's what I've experienced over my 36 years of sojourn in Canada, in America, in Europe, or where have you, right? You see, there must be a sincere of purpose. We must, you know, look at people before you put them in the bylaw. That what is he really going to do? Why does he want to contest? Where is he coming from? What does he do for a living? What is his past? What is his present? What is his future? You call him to your community. You call him to your house. Have a town hall meeting with him. Get to know him. Things will change. Now, you have politicians of today. They don't know how those who voted for them, if they were actually voted for, how they survive, how they live their daily life. In America, when you have somebody who you elect into an office, for example, he lives with you in that same constituency. He doesn't live Ubo in Oredo to come and stay in Abuja. He lives with his people. But our people, after electing them, they stay at Abuja for the period of that. If you come back when they are coming with the police, and the police are scaring the people who voted them. So they don't know if we have electricity. They don't know if we have a running water. They don't know if we have a head road or a tide road. They don't know if we have hospitals. They don't know if we have anything. All they are working towards is their next election. That's where we're having the problem. And we focus and concentrate so much on the paperwork, on education. Education is important, don't get me wrong. But there are those who doesn't have a PhD or master who were gifted, like in America. You have people who have been in House of Senate or House of Rep for over 30-something years. They only have a college degree. Some don't even have, but they have it up here. Until we start to respect people, whether they are academically brilliant or whether they were not privileged to access the fourth basic law of education, and we carry everybody along, democracy will thrive. And we also have to limit the campaign contribution because it is not for sale. It's a participation of everybody. It's inclusive. When you are not putting a high price on it, you deprive those who are genuinely, whether want to contest or whether want to vote. If we look at these things, I'm sure our problem is solved halfway.
That's fair enough and very interesting. So let's bring it now to today. We've gone through years of democracy. Our current president is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he gave a speech today to commemorate the day. And some persons have picked some parts of it that they have issues with. So I'd like to get your take on this particular portion of the speech, which people have deemed to be a threat, and others are saying it is not. The president said, I'll read it out. He says, it is about the rule of law and vibrant judiciary that can be trusted to deliver justice and strengthen institutions. Now here's the bit that has caused some controversy. He says, it has become imperative to state here that the unnecessary illegal orders used to truncate or abridge democracy will no longer be tolerated. And persons have taken this to mean that this is a president who has a case in court, and he's saying that there are unnecessary illegal orders that will not be tolerated. And they're saying, is this a threat to the judiciary? Is it a threat to democracy? What do you make of this? Should he have worded that better, or do you suspect any ill doing?
Well, as you talk, I was trying to think of an American president. I'm not sure if it was J.F. Kennedy or George Washington. You know, the time of depression in America, where they're going through a lot, same way some African countries are going through, right? He came out with something called the Real Deal. The Real Deal was a very tough decision that wasn't popular. Sometimes unpopular things by politicians works, right? I am a chieftain of Labour Party, but I can tell you, and you can take it to the bank, that what the president said about judiciary is the truth and nothing but the truth. Because we have three arms of government. If the judiciary are going to play their role very well and play to what they swore into as an office, the truncating will not be there. As a matter of fact, the president's statement could be for him or against him, because you have 5 people sit on the table, 4 gentlemen and 1 lady who are going to make the decision. Because they are independent, they can make a decision that is not favorable to him because of this speech, because he's saying that we must strengthen the judiciary, and I support that. So I don't see anything wrong with Mr. President saying that. But the only thing I thought or I saw that was wrong in his comment, it was the ending. The beginning was all right, but the ending was very bad. When he talked about liberty, we don't have liberty in this country. We don't have freedom in this country. Even the press doesn't even have freedom in this country. The police still embarrass us, still terrorize us, still humiliate us. The military, who is supposed to guide our country because we are living in a sovereignty, they still horsewhip us in the street. We still have judges, lawyers, senators, House of Rep, local government chairmen, still having police today as an escort with a siren to harass us as a citizen. Then tell me, where's the liberty? So I thought that, because I'm from a civil society, we have not gotten our liberty. My last protest, I said, give me my liberty or I die. So man cannot live without liberty. Liberty is everything. Liberty is your dignity. So for the president to say that we have liberty, I think he was trying to polish his statement. We have no liberty in Nigeria.
All right. People definitely argue, but I can see the point you are making. So the question will always be solutions and thereabouts. How do we get from where we are to where we want to be? You've already proffered some here. But that being said, with the issue of democracy now, what do you think is the next step for the country in terms of fixing the issues? Now, coming into 2023, in 2022 actually, we saw the BVAS, saw the Electoral Act, we saw IREV, and we said, this is improvement, this is the next level. And to an extent, I don't believe it has gone exactly the way Nigerians would have expected it to go. So I wonder, do you think as of now, what we should be doing is going back to these things I've mentioned and perfecting it, or from what has happened, is it that we need to find something new? No,
I don't think so. I think they're tempted with the BVAS. If they had left it genuinely, it would have been the best. They use it in America, it works. They use it in several other countries, it works, okay? You cannot tell me now that this phone is not helping me. I mean, I don't even know your address, but I put a GPS here and I find you, right? You can't tell me your computer is not working. You can't tell me what you are transmitting now is not working. We are not going to go back to the old age. We are going to make sure that if we have a law, if anyone do not respect that law, the person have to be punished. A lot of Nigerians get away with murder because nobody's been punished for any offense. For example, you didn't ask me, but let me add it to it. And I'm sure that the president is going to look into this very seriously. I'm one of those people that broke the news. When I saw a plane that was designed with a logo, right? It was suspicious. I went into the internet and I checked the serial number. It's very easy. I contacted Ethiopia and they find that that plane left Lomé, from Lomé to one other country before Nigeria. So we rented that plane for 4 days. After branding that plane, it was returned back to Ethiopia. They will spray it back again. And I can show you exactly that plane that were branded. I have the picture on my phone here, okay? Now, he deceived Mr. President Buhari and collected 138 billion. Listen to me very carefully. Corruption is a problem, and we are not punishing people. And the man is still sitting home as we speak now. He's not in jail. If he's in America, they will give him one year each count. That will be 138 years. They'll give him almost about 900 years in prison. He would die and rot in jail. But this same man, you're still going to see in the street tomorrow. And that's our problem. And it's the same country you have the Attorney General, something like, that has to do with money. What's the name again? The one that took over. Attorney, what's coming? Help me out here.
The
Accountant General. Yeah. Took 100-something billion. He returned only 30 billion back. We are not happy about that case. Right? And just please, you ask me a question, let me explain. Now, recently, the FCC chairman, the little gentleman there, went to Saudi Arabia and he was accused of spending over between $10,000-$15,000 a day. He was there for more than 10 days, spent over $120,000 himself and his son. I don't say he doesn't have a vacation. What is his salary? And they are chasing Yahoo boys. When you have Yahoo politicians. So when we let people understand that if you cannot stay or you can't take the heat in the kitchen, leave the kitchen. Right? There must be crime, yes, but there must be punishment. So if we really want to do things right, we must, like every person that stole money, we must make sure they are accountable. We shouldn't have a majority over 15, 17 million in the north, and somebody is building like a Buckingham Palace with our Nigerian money. I think that is preposterous. Our problem is very easy to solve. It's about corruption. Let us, reform the police. Let us pay police better pay. Let them give them free housing. Let them give their children scholarship. Let them assist the military. Every military parastatals. Let us encourage the DSA. Let them give them better money. The problem is halfway solved. We don't pay them money. We treat them with disrespect. They transfer their aggression to us. And when you give them opportunities, it's my time to make it in life. I want to get rich. I don't want to die poor. That's what we are going through. Unlike what you make a reference to, where I have been for about 30 years of my life, we have a welfare system that if you are not working, the government give you money. If you don't have a house, they give you a house. If you want to go back to school, they give you, go ahead and reach to PhD. But when you are working, pay back the money we borrow. That's what they call a system. Nigeria doesn't have a system. That's the problem. Nigeria doesn't have institutions. That's the problem. Because men are institutions in Nigeria. You are a very brilliant guy. You deserve an opportunity. But with the quota system, has it helped you? No. And it hasn't helped me. I'm from Edo State. I passed. I have 180 something or 200 something. Because of the quota system, somebody got 70 in the north. He passed. He becomes my head of department. Are you getting me? It doesn't work. So we need to tell ourselves the truth. We need to do things in the right way. It is not difficult. We need to build more prisons and put people there. Then they can be, doing some agbado, fashion design, whatever they want to do in prison, so that they can go and learn and come back and behave well. Because most of our politicians are not behaving well. And our judges, most of them are also doing the right thing because of these dollars and pounds. But what is the legacy?
All right. Thank you so much, Chief Patrick Eholo. It's always a pleasure having you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, the viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's how we end the program on our special episode on Democracy Day and lessons learned so far. Do join us tomorrow. The Polity reaches you live from Abuja, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Daily. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. I am Amadou.